Hello, my Astro family. This is Lada from astrolada.com with predictions for the next 18 months, year and a half for each of the 12 signs about the north and south node of the moon changing signs. These are karmic. When they change signs, everything turns around karmically. And it will be much easier, by the way, than the last year and a half. And it's where the north node loves to be in Gemini. It's the sign of the apprentice, of learning new things, of communicating, of connecting. We'll all come out of this much smarter, full of way more skills, full of way more street smart skills as well, and abilities. It's fantastic. And by the way, just to let you know, because Gemini is the sign of the apprentice, the student. We are leaving our apprenticeship open at 20% off all the time with Victor. Every 2-3 weeks we have a new group. It's only 5 people in a group that study with him, and after that you can have a chance to work with us when you complete the apprenticeship. There are different levels. You can start from middle, high level, whatever it is, but this is the best and the cheapest astrological program, studying with the teacher one-on-one out there. We've checked all the prices. No one is offering such cheap prices to study with one of the best teachers in the world. Okay, let's start. So let's see. Rahu, or the North Node, is moving into Gemini. Wherever Rahu goes, this is the strategy we need to learn over the next year and a half if we want to have fast, sudden jump to success, or to fast track on success, because Rahu gives like a sudden jump. While Ketu, wherever it moves, and it's moving in Sagittarius, this is what we have to let go of for a little bit, what we have to detach from. What has become maybe outdated, or what is time for us to put at the back burner for a little bit, at the background for a little bit. So let's see collectively what it means. I made a video that making world predictions a couple of weeks ago, what it will mean for the world. I can repeat it quickly, but I want to focus on this video more psychologically, how it's going to be for humanity on a personal level rather than collectively. And generally for humanity, I see, because Rahu is the sign of media, Gemini is the sign of media, and wherever Rahu goes, it develops that sign. It develops it, makes it progress, makes it more technologically advanced. So there will be new alternative information medias that come. It won't be just YouTube, it won't be just Facebook. There'll be new ones that will crop in a year and a half, that alternative. And Rahu is a rebellious planet. It goes against the grain. Rahu is connected to Aquarius energy in ancient astrology, to be like an outlier, to be a rebel, to do things differently, to innovate. So, to go against rules as well. And rules in a sense like YouTube is putting a lot of rules currently. You cannot say that, the videos will be removed, whatever. And there will be people that collectively develop new media sources that go against those rules, that are deregulated, so to speak. Rahu doesn't like rules. So what will be also, technologies will be very, very developed. Everything that Gemini rules, marketing, advertising, it will have to find new ways, because the old ways no longer work. It will be innovation in those areas in a long way. People that are in those careers, marketing, advertising, short travel. I spoke in a previous video. I don't want to repeat it. If you want to see collectively, I speak even also about stocks that are likely to go up, connected to Gemini with Rahu there. And what to invest in as well, educational programs, skill training, people that are in skill training in any way, in subscriptions and stuff. This thing is growing. This thing will be exploding. And it's while Ketu things, which is like the air flight industry, international travel, which is in Sagittarius, which is high university education, these things are weakening as well. These things are becoming less reliable, or they'll be, the old ones will be replaced somehow. But I want to focus more on personal psychological level. And Rahu in Gemini, Ketu, let's start with Ketu in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a grand, your future, your long-term goals for the future, your ideal about yourself, your your big dreams about yourself almost. So maybe you think, I'm going to be a writer, or I'm a natural writer, this is the only meaningful thing for me, or I'm going to create art that is healing, or I'm meant to be a healer, or whatever. This is, or I and Ketu in Sagittarius, these are all our ideals of who we are, the big things we want to do in life, the big picture we have about our lives. But now this will be weakened a little bit. What is your high ideal about yourself? Well, actually now Rahu in the North Node you have to go there. So till now you've been dreaming, I'll be a big astrologer one day, or I'll be a big writer one day. But Gemini, where Rahu is, that we have to develop is, what practical steps are you taking in order to make this big dream, this big ideal for you of yours, which is Sagittarius, to happen? How many pages have you written if you're a writer? And you realize, oh, actually, I've just written 2 pages, and you're going to be a great writer, really? Now you have to get down. Rahu, Gemini, which will be enhanced by Rahu in the next year and a half, rules skills, and getting down and starting to work with your hands, and starting to play in the sand. Till now you've been learning with Sagittarius in Ketu, means that you have something that you have as an ideal, something that you theoretically know maybe a lot about, not practically though. Now is the time to go in the sun, get your hands dirty, start trying to make this thing happen, to experiment. You might have a great idea, because Sagittarius creates also ideals. Sagittarius is an inspirational sign. And you might have had a great idea, inspiration that gives you purpose and meaning. But how can you make it happen in the real world? This is Gemini. Gemini rules the hands, to go and make things happen with your hands, to use your practical intelligence to fulfill your idea, to fulfill that great vision, that great idea, Sagittarius, that you have. You need practical steps, and you need to learn some skills that you probably even considered below you. If your ideal is to change the world, or if your ideal is to be I don't know, whatever. So everyone has certain ideals, certain big plans for their life. And suddenly you are asked, like, oh, now you have to learn how to upload videos on YouTube. Gemini is very practical skills, You're like, that's below me. I'm the creative genius. I create those brilliant ideas and visions. Like, why should I learn now marketing and to promote myself? This is again Gemini, that you have to learn those practical things to spread them around other people. Gemini is a sign of connectivity. Or why should I learn how to splice together videos and edit? I just want to have this amazing message and put it out there. Yes, but unless you have a team of 10 people that can do this for you, you might have to do and learn those skills on your own. This is what's required. Whatever your grand plan you have, whatever grand idea, which is getting the Sagittarius, now you have to learn to make it happen in the real life by acquiring new knowledge, new skills, And and of course, if you can collaborate with other people, because Gemini rules other people, their skills as well. So instead of always trying to do things in your own way, you need to learn to listen to others. You need to understand and learn what others have done, new methods, and work with others. This is the strategy collectively for success for everyone in the next year and a half, if they want faster success, rather than just doing things alone. Or if you can't collaborate with others, listen to ideas from others. Because Sagittarius is the sign, like, let me tell you how to do this. Sagittarius is the teacher. If you know someone with strong Sagittarius, they always come and tell you how to do things. They know better. They know best. They're like the lecturers, not like telling you you should not do this, you should not do that. No, they know all the answers to everything. They're all knowing. They're all lofty. So they try to tell, and that's fantastic to teach others. But currently, we collectively should not be the teachers. We should all collectively should be opening ourselves to learn from others. This is Gemini, to listen and hear others. Sagittarius doesn't hear others. It has its own ideas. It talks to go to the higher mind, and that's it. It's this perfect. No one can contradict me. I am above the truth. I am the truth. But Gemini is like, maybe there are different ways to do this. So everyone has to, in some level, in some area of their life, they have to attune themselves to being open, uh, to have rapport with others, to find a mutual threat with others, to collaborate, to connect with others. This is Gemini. To investigate and learn from others. And one fantastic way would be brainstorming with others. Share your idea, your lofty idea, share it with a few people and see, and you see it's every kind of work you're doing for the next year and a half. Now from May till till the end of 2021, you'll notice that if you're always trying just to figure it out in your head, it's not gonna go as well. If you collaborate with others in a small group, in a it might be 2-3 people, it doesn't have to be or if you just sit around and brainstorm with others. Gemini rules conversation. Start with the conversation, ask another opinion, even if you think they're dumber than you, because Ketu in Sagittarius tends to think, I know better. We collectively, everyone has the Sagittarius somewhere in their horoscope, in some area of their life, that they think, I know better how this is done, but Gemini Rahu is telling us, yeah, but in the next year and a half, who will succeed the most and who will have the fast track is who is willing to learn new methods from others, who is willing to collaborate, to learn new skills, to understand and learn, but through others. So just open your ears, create rapport, create little communities, hear what others have to say. The best ideas and the best way to implement something will come from that. And Gemini also rules your everyday mundane things. Well, Sagittarius is high-minded, idealistic things. So we'll have to come down from our high horse for a little bit. And Sagittarius is knowing and seeing your future mapped out for years ahead, some ideal, some goal. Maybe not everyone has that, but a lot of people in certain area of their life, they have some ideal way they want to do things and they've mapped it out. But you see, our reality has shifted so much in the last few months. And for the next year and a half, we'll have to go day at a time. There is a saying in AA, if someone says, you should not say, I will not drink all my life. This is very Sagittarius, I will never drink again. A goal that lasts your life. But Ketu there says, whatever you're trying to do now in the next year and a half is not going to work like that. You have to do it one day at a time. Today I'm not going to drink, or today I'm going to try this skill, or today I'm just going to work with what is around me in the immediate vicinity around me right now, rather than trying to do it for a lifetime or for an indefinite long period. And it's also, it's kind of like, imagine you think, well, I'm an artist, that's my long dream, I'm an artist, I'm going to change the world. But now currently you're given an opportunity to, not an opportunity, but something comes up, well, you can work as a marketeer or something, or salesperson. You're like, what, me? I want to do these amazing things, and now I have to do this kind of like a manual work almost, to be a marketer, to use visions and pictures and words to sell things. This is more like the Gemini side. But I love my teacher, Ernst Wilhelm has a course on Rahu and Ketu in the different signs, and he says, but when Rahu is in Gemini, that's exactly where your success is going to come. You might think your high-minded idea is to be an artist, but you get offered a job as a manager, for example, or to work as a salesperson in a shop, and you have to do now with Gemini Rahu, you have to do this. But you don't know that actually exactly there you can meet the right person, the right collaborators, or the right people that will put your art and help you create this vision, healing art, or whatever it is that can bring your art out to the people. So you'll find those opportunities in your everyday environment that you consider almost mundane, that you consider almost like you're going to the shop and suddenly you meet someone. You're going, say you're, like my teacher gives this example, you're a painter, and you get invited to a sports game, and you're like, oh, but I don't do sports games, like I have more important things to do, to do my art, to paint. But you go to that sports game. This is Gemini. You know, Gemini, to do something, experiment, to do something new, to do something that you maybe consider more superficial or below you, or, you know, it's not so high-minded, or it's not in your field of ideals of where you want to go, and your field of vision for yourself, but you decide to experiment and try something new. This is Gemini. And you go to that sports game and someone sitting next to you sees that you have paint on your fingers, and he says, oh, are you a painter? And you're like, yeah, I'm an artist. And then turns out that this person puts your paintings in the gallery on the next day. This person somehow helps fulfill your ideals. So you see, it's not always just forget about your ideals, Ketu in Sagittarius. Don't do anything about that. Forget about the future and long-term planning. But it's not only that. It's kind of focus more on Rahu in Gemini. Everyday activities, trying, experimenting new things, trying new skills, trying to create rapport with groups of people you've never been connected to before, with different alternative, or kind of in social environments that are not typical for you, or trying skills that you might consider even below you, or trying, even if an opportunity comes for a job that you've never wanted, that this is not my thing, you know, try it, because exactly in those everyday things your opportunity will appear, which Rahu always brings an opportunity, which will spin around to Ketu in Sagittarius. So we start with Ketu, we go to Rahu, and we go back to allow you to fulfill this long-term dream or vision of yours, because Sagittarius is very much about those long-term planning, this future, very futuristic sign. So what I'm trying to say is that you're going to find your opportunities in everyday events, in the most unexpected places. You can just start talking to people, you know, start engaging with them more. It might be the person that the postman that you never said hi to, say hi to them now, and they might, turns out that they have a connection, or they know someone, or they actually have started going to a course. This is exactly the course that you need, or whatever, that can help you eventually fulfill that goal of yours, that long-term goal of yours, you know. So it's basically don't engage with people you don't normally engage with. Communicate, listen, open yourself to ideas from others. Don't think you know it all. It's not this time about let me tell you how to do this, but actually let me see how you can do this, or actually even asking, do you know how to do this better? Do you have a different method? And everyone will benefit from this. This is more like now versus the future. Rahu in Gemini wants you to focus now. What can I do now immediately rather than in the long term? And in this very surprising reality that we're currently in, will so much like God is giving us this lifeline by Rahu going into Gemini, because it makes people more passionate about connecting immediately. And not only that, but about, we'll have to learn, like, the Gemini is the novice mind, the apprentice mind, while Sagittarius is the teacher mind. I know it all. Well, this mentality is not going to work for a year and a half now, for most of us. You have to have this clean slate mind, Gemini. I'm curious in everything. I'm open to everything. Whatever new method it is, I would accept them, because the I know it all approach is not going to work. We're in a very new reality. It will continue to be very new for the next year and a half. Just like last time Rahu was in Gemini was 2001. 9/11 happened and Rahu went into Gemini. For a year and a half after that, we had to adapt to a new reality. People had to learn new skills, new businesses. They had to, the rules of the game changed basically, and they had to learn the new rules of the games. And that's what Rahu in Gemini almost like forces or demands from us while it's there for the next year and a half. And to take it day by day, to take it to, and even to re-examine your beliefs, which is Ketu in Sagittarius, and what you expected from the future, how you had your future pictured in your mind. Well, we'll have to kind of become more detached from that, because it's not going to play out like we've planned, the long-term plan that we've had. Oh, I'm going to retire, I'm going to do this, I'm going to know. The day's changing. Every day, things are changing. Rahu in Gemini, things change very fast. And you have to be alert now in the present, in the now, rather than, it doesn't mean don't have dreams. It doesn't mean don't have high-minded ideals, of course. But you have to be applying them immediately as you go. React fast, you know, this is Rahu in Gemini. Grab the opportunities that are around you day by day, step by step. Try your hands on this, try your hands on that. If you get invited to do pottery, if you get invited to do some sports, anything new that you don't have a skill about, that you don't even have any interest about, go and try your hands on it. Actually, this is where your luck is going to come from. And in the same sense, ninth house Ketu in Sagittarius is destiny. So if you thought like, and this is correct in many cases, but not for the next year and a half. If you thought, for example, oh, my soulmate will find me no matter what, my destiny will find me. This is Ketu, this is Sagittarius. It's true, your destiny eventually finds you. But now, while Rahu is in Gemini, it says, but you have to experiment. You have to go on the playground and play as well. So it's like your soul partner is not going to come at home to find you. Your destiny, your destiny is still there, don't worry. But now you have to go get your hands dirty. Start going on websites and dating apps and, experiment different things, Rahu in Gemini. Or if you think like, oh, my destiny is to be a great astrologer, or my destiny is, okay, it probably is true, that destiny, but you have to go into this Rahu in Gemini for the next year and a half and start writing articles, or connecting with others from that field, and others that you maybe even think they're not as good as you, going on blogs and, talking about the things you can, because you will not be found a great astrologer like that. You need to go and do this Rahu thing in Gemini, experiment, try, market, and such things. So now things, get your hands dirty now. Those, maybe you have a lot of theoretical knowledge. For example, another example between Ketu in Sagittarius and Rahu in Gemini. You've got a lot of theoretical knowledge about astrology or about something else. But can you read charts in practice? Can you sit with a person and read their life, and they go like, wow, the practical step, the practical techniques that really work. So now is when you forge that practice with Rahu in Gemini. You work on hundreds of charts. For example, I'm giving an example with astrology. And you interact daily with people whose charts you work. And then this exact thing will help you fulfill that long-term goal, Ketu in Sagittarius. Eventually, from Ketu to Rahu, it loops back to the south nodes in Sagittarius and allows you to fulfill that long-term goal, but it's not going to happen in the way you envision it. Rahu in Gemini will force you and learn new skills and do it in ways that were unexpected for you. All right, so and as I said, in your everyday environment, stay tuned and stay open to new opportunities, things you haven't done before, things that you consider even mundane, or even you can consider them kind of waste of time. Oh, but I'm supposed to be a musician and now I have to be music teacher, or I'm supposed to be this amazing chef, but now I have to work in pharmaceuticals. It's like some job appeared and I have to do it now. Exactly in those mundane environments, it's where you're going to find this luck. And as I said, it's not going to be so much to luck now, Sagittarius, Ketu in Sagittarius, and to your destiny taking you on your path, but to you going on the field and playing and trying out different things, Rahu in Gemini. So adopt the novice mind and not the I know it all mind if you want to be successful in the next year and a half. The apprentice mind, willing to learn rather than trying to teach others, rather than thinking you know it now. All right, so let's start with the 12 signs. Oops. Starting with Aries. Maybe that will help people because I don't put timestamps. So if you're Aries rising, also maybe Aries sun or moon, this is also important to check the 3 signs. Check your 3 signs. So Aries. So for you, everything that I said in the intro is extremely, extremely correct, because Gemini is naturally your 3rd house. It has the same meaning. So you should watch the whole intro because it's very important for you. And it's Basically, Rahu will require you the next year and a half to learn to collaborate with others. It will help you expand clients as well. By the end of this process, you'll see that you have connected with more, but you have to reach out to others, because Ketu will make us feel like more like, I know it all, I have my vision, it has to be exactly that. But no, connect, communicate with others, get ideas from others. It's great to make a team. For example, if you have your own business, make a team of people with different, with more narrow specialists, which is the third house, which is Gemini, and Rahu, that you want to develop people that maybe they're good at one specific thing. One is good at graphic design, one is good at marketing, one is good at visuals, whatever. And combine your efforts with other people that have specific skill sets, and best also learn from those other things if you want to fulfill that grand vision, that grand ideal that you have. But now you have to experiment, try, learn different skills. And for you, it will be best if, and you might feel drawn more and more to enroll in courses that teach specific skills. They're not theoretical, they're practical courses and seminars. And if you have any career that's connected about teaching skills to others that are practical, specific, this will be very successful in the next year and a half. It's also, you'll notice that you start developing more your connections with people around you, with neighbors, with siblings. You might collaborate with siblings or neighbors or friends or mates or coworkers. You might be placed in situations where um, you have to collaborate with others. And I know for Aries that might not be the most natural thing, because they want to be the leader, they want their vision always. But now this is a strategy for success, because you'll be surprised how others have a lot better ideas sometimes than you, and a lot of times others know better than you. So stay open to those things. Also, you can be quite successful in any endeavor that requires you media, communication, writing, speaking. And you'll notice yourself that your opportunities for long-term travel, which is Ketu, the South Node in Gemini, will be less so. Traveling internationally, of course, it's very possible for most signs to be so. But you'll notice that you're losing interest towards that, and you're trying to focus more local, in your neighborhood, in your town, in your environment, and or even in travel. And this is true for everyone basically, because collectively Rahu is in the third house of the whole world. So it would mean like going more on short trips, going to explore maybe your state rather than traveling to another country on some island, so basically taking an RV and traveling around your state or around your, whatever it's closest to you, going for trips that are much shorter, 2-3 days rather than longer ones. And there'll be increased passion, because Rahu is always where the North Node is, where we become more passionate to communicate, learn new skills, to interact with others. And Ketu in Sagittarius will require you to leave behind some belief systems from the old, something that you thought this is the ultimate truth. And to dive and to explore opinions of others, to explore, which is Ketu, which is Rahu in the third house, other people's opinions, other people's perspectives rather than your one. And this will give you the fastest jump forward ahead for the next year and a half. Okay, so it's great to learn any new skills, anything with media. I think we mentioned almost everything. Now let's go to Taurus. Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Oops. So what is Rahu for you is entering the second house, while Ketu will be in the eighth house for a year and a half. And what does it mean? Well, you can learn a lot about money. You can have a sudden rise in financial as well, security, but only if you're willing to learn, only if you're willing to communicate, to listen to other people's ideas. So when it comes to where to invest your money, how to make more money, how to be more financially secure, anything that is connected to these matters, maybe take a crash course, maybe take a webinar or a seminar, and more of the practical nature rather than the theory of money, rather than the big picture of it. No, how strategic steps, for example, learn the stock market, how to do it, or learn how to, because Gemini, where is your second house, about learning skills and listening to other people's opinions. So be open to that, consult with another person what to do with your finances and resources as well, and learn through those things. And that's what is going to help you have a breakthrough financially in some way. Also get grounded. It's easy for you actually. As Taurus, you're naturally grounded sign. Pay attention. You're going to become more passionate about what you eat. You're going to get more excited and interested in what you put in your mouth, the food, because it's the second house. You might even want to experiment and try food groups that you've never tried before, because Rahu is experimental. Maybe try adding different spices, foods from different cultures, because Gemini is multicultural, interestingly enough. And try, you'd like to experiment, you'd like to be more progressive with the food that you eat as well. While South Node transiting your 8th house can indicate that some area of your life that you rely on others, for example, a source of income that comes to you from government or from some kind of almost passive source of income that comes to you from your partner. It might be weakened because it's the South Node, Ketu there. It weakens, so you might have to let go of such a thing for a little bit. You might mean that, for example, your spouse is making a bit less, or so you have to find new resources to create new resources yourself. Rahu in the second house. You have a lot of original ideas, but you have to learn a lot of new skill sets, which is Gemini in the second house, in order to create and to find new resources around you immediately. But you have to let go of some that are connected, and maybe some inheritance that might be denied to you, or that might be which is Ketu in the 8th house, inheritance, insurance, some paying offs from dividends. If you have something invested in mutual funds, for example, this can be weakened. You can rely less on them, the 8th house, resources from others, but you can create more resources yourself. Rahu in the second house, by developing new skills and learning, and maybe read books, reading books about such matters. Sorry about that. Okay, so now let's go to Gemini. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Wow, Rahu is moving into your sign. It's amazing. This happens once every 19, 18 years only. Actually, look back to 2001, from September, October to the end of 2002. There can be something similar, but at a higher level that comes now. But what does it mean? It will mean that South Node will be in your 7th house, which means might be a time to detach from certain codependent relationships, certain relationships that you thought they'll be in your life forever for the long term, which is Sagittarius. That idealize, you might take someone from a pedestal. Sagittarius idealizes, and Ketu is there, a partner, a business partner, a personal marriage partner, that you take them off a pedestal. Because Ketu in the 7th house does that. So you can discover your own strength instead, because Rahu is in your 1st house. So I think this will be a very successful period for many Geminis. I think that whatever Gemini touch, it will kind of turn into gold, because they naturally, Rahu is exalted in Gemini. It loves that sign, because Gemini likes to experiment. It learns very easily. You as a Gemini, you learn skills very easily. Gemini is extremely resourceful to take whatever is around them in the environment and make it happen, make the best out of it. So you will shine now. Actually, I think Gemini people will be in high demand over the next year and a half, whether it's your Sun, Moon, or Ascendant, in most careers, in most professions, because everyone has to learn new things now with Rahu in Gemini. And Gemini, you as Gemini are naturally the most skilled people, the most skilled sign of all signs, and you have a wide range of different skills, and you learn so fast. So you'll be in high demand in many careers. I think if you've lost your job or something now, very quickly Rahu people in the next year and a half will find careers and to be independent. This will be fantastic period for for Geminis to learn to rely on themselves, because as I said, the positions of a partnership or someone that supported you till now is not necessarily just marriage partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, or something. It might be someone that you were relying on, um, and their positions will be weakened somehow. So you need to rely mostly on yourself. But this will give you a lot of self-confidence, because Rahu blows up whatever it passes. And the first house is self-confidence, believing in yourself, becoming independent, becoming stronger in yourself due to your skills, due to your abilities, and due to your abilities to communicate with others. And it's still valid that you need to create rapport and communicate with others, but somehow this will be channeled through you, and you'll be the one leading those activities in some way. And I think also when I've seen Rahu transits the ascendant, often people change their appearance, they enhance their appearance in some way. If it's your ascendant is in Gemini, sometimes I've seen people, for example, they can implant something in them, and they usually become more sexually attractive, because Rahu is a sexually attractive planet. They can become more but you're going to experiment with your appearance. And if it's your Gemini sun, you're going to experiment with your career. There can be some growth in your career because of your skills, because of your own personality. And there might be the appearance, because the sun symbolizes important males as well. Someone new, very unusual, very different male that appears in your life, or some inspirational figure, or some boss, or someone with power that appears in your life, that uplifts you as well, that increases your confidence in some way as well. If it's your moon in Gemini, it's again your appearance, your attention to yourself, emotional independence as well. Maybe upgrading your home in some way, maybe becoming passionate about your family life, about as well in some way, and trying and experimenting, doing different things there. Sometimes people change place of living when Rahu transits the moon sign. They change their living environment. Their family gets. Sometimes women can get pregnant when Rahu is making eclipses on their moon, is transiting the sign of their moon. They can get pregnant. They can get, and depends where the moon falls from your ascendant. That area will also be kind of will grow up again a lot. So yeah, this is how I see. I think by the end of this process, you'd feel much more, you'd have noticed, it might take a whole year and a half, but you'll notice that you're more of a Gemini. Your Gemini qualities can really shine now. Everyone from around the world will be seeking for your expertise, from your Gemini skills, from your ability to communicate, to work in a group environment. And I think you'll be sought after people, basically. And you'd have, if it's your sun there, success in career, in positions of visibility, and such, or the ascendant, generally in your life. But you might have to let go of codependence to someone. Okay, so then we're going to Cancer. Cancer, sun, moon, or rising. The rising always is very important. Well, for you, the North Node, Rahu, is moving into your 12th house, while Ketu is moving into your 6th house. So there is the need here, what will be happening in the next year and a half is that you'll be required to learn new techniques to relax, because Gemini is all about learning new methods, new techniques. 12 houses to relax, to let go, to escape from the worries of reality, the worries and mundane responsibility of life, as the 6th house where Ketu is transiting, which is basically which you want to detach more from. Ketu wants you to detach. So some of you might leave some responsibilities. Some of you might leave some job, for example, over the next year and a half. Some job or some field of service that you've had that you no longer feel connected to, that you stop finding purpose and meaning to. Sagittarius in the 6th house. Often Cancers, they always want to have a very meaningful job. Because Sagittarius is their 6th house, something with meaning, that's helping, that is high-minded. But now, possibly with Ketu transiting there, you start feeling disconnected from some sort of service, and that you no longer feel that it's bringing you meaning and purpose, and that's okay. it's maybe just outlived its purpose already. You have to let it go. Or certain aspect of your work that is no longer meaningful, you have to detach and let go of, while at the same time developing new methods to relax, to take care of your soul, which is the 12th house. New methods, for example, for meditation, uh, new kind of even some active meditation, because Gemini is a very active sign in the 12th house. Maybe something to relax through reading books, relax through walks. Gemini rules walks. So you need to create, and you'll be creating and becoming passionate to creating a new tool set of relaxation, of disconnecting from the worries of the world. And sometimes it might be even forced that the universe says, okay, you don't have a job for some time now. Okay, to in the 6th house, you're letting go of certain responsibilities and duties. You can't do them. You don't have the job, so you can spend more time in this 12th house where Rahu is, to connect with your higher power, to study mysticism, to read books about the invisible worlds, about spiritual matters, about to study and research. Gemini studies research, to even join such chat groups, such forums on Facebook, or groups that talk, because Gemini rules the internet, that talk about more mystical matters, that talk about, or you might want to join kind of like and create discussions and talk about, all kind of astrology, psychology, research such deeper matters. This can be fantastic time for cancers to study, for example, because Gemini is to study, to learn skills, to discuss, to exchange ideas with others on anything to do with astrology, with psychology, with the occult, with learn skills that for imagination, to create some imaginative idea, which is the 12th house. It's your imagination, but you have to bring from the invisible world of the 12th house this imagination that you have and create it. Some of you might be like learning skills to draw, to write, to download, because those the 6th house is like the 12th house is the ideas that come to us from the invisible world, and now you have to use Gemini and to make it happen practically with your hands. Learn some skills or whatever to fulfill some imaginative idea of yours to make it happen. So learning, so for example, you might want to create a computer game or something, so you have to learn computer programming, and it entails this 12th house spending more time alone. And you as cancers will notice that you're feeling more passionate to spend more time alone for the next year and a half in your privacies, where you can develop skills. So if I can summarize all this, is that you're gonna be spending more time alone, detached from the worries of the world, from the everyday, paying the bills, working and stuff like that. So you can develop some skill behind the scenes that is kind of a bit more, possibly a bit more of a lonely skill that requires, isolation a little bit, and to learn a lot of new things. And you do it in the privacy of your own time. This is 12th house. And it can indicate that you want to also, 12 houses, faraway places, and you can connect actually with people from faraway places over the internet and such, and you can develop some passion about foreign travel on the next year and a half and exploring. It's actually my husband, when he had Rahu transiting the 12th house, he had never traveled outside of his country till then. And when Rahu trans the 12th house, bam, he had an opportunity to travel, and it was a big journey, far, far away. A whole month we were in Europe, across the world. So it can be like opening of a gate of an opportunity to connect to faraway places. I don't know how in the current circumstances you do it, but if anyone can do it now, that will be you cancers. You have the opportunities to connect and to travel to faraway places, and actually to create friendships there. Gemini is a sign of friendships, people that you can call buddies and mates, people that you can exchange ideas with, and especially with foreigners and people from very different cultures than yours. This can be like a breakthrough and a window for success for you. So so you have to connect communicationally with people, make and exchange ideas with them, but those will be possibly foreigners, people from faraway places as well. And it can sometimes, Rahu in the 12th house can indicate romantic hidden relationship that starts hidden, that is kind of like a either side hustle or that is private in nature, but is sexually quite passionate, because 12th house is the house of bed pleasures. Rahu is very sensual planet as well, maybe with a foreigner or someone from a faraway country. This is what happened with my husband when he had Rahu trans in the 12th house. He met a sudden love affair while far away on a holiday, and so that's also an opportunity, a possibility. I'm telling you all those things. And you should not beat yourself up if you're finding yourself more and more disconnected from your work or from your daily worries, or even sometimes hygiene and habits that you have. Ketu in the sixth house can make you a bit lose interest to those things that you do normally that anchor you. The daily activities like having your coffee, then putting everything in the desk like that. Then I do this from 9 to 10, then from 10 to 11. You might find yourself like, oh, you're losing interest, or it's kind of you don't want to do them, or something disrupts those daily routines. So you can explore the unknown there with Rahu in the 12th house, the realm of all possibilities, because the 12th house is the invisible, where everything exists but it hasn't materialized yet. All right, so enough of that. Let's go to Leos. Leos, for you, the North Node is moving into your 11th house, while the South Node is moving into your 5th house. For the next year and a half, it's imperative for you to create bridges and contacts and communicate with people, because this can be a time where you reach very large audiences of people, very large groups, where you can create your fan base if you're someone that, or your clientele base, because the 11th house is very business oriented. It's connected to marketing, to advertising, but mostly do it by connecting through others, by spreading your message to larger audiences and groups of people, and by really developing and learning new skills, which is Gemini, and creating new contacts, which allows your business to grow, which allows some kind of dream of yours to happen. But this happens through others. This does not happen but by you trying to do it like, you need to listen for feedback from others. It's not like you have a vision and that's it. That's my creative vision, Ketu in the 5th house. And it has to be like that, because the more stubborn you're about having it your own way, and without consulting with others, without getting their advice, the less likely this is going to happen, the more disappointing it can turn out. So you have to open yourself. Yes, you can still keep your creative idea, but you maybe have to let go of certain aspects of it which are no longer realistic, or which are, how would I say, which you're even not connecting to that anymore, and be open to. And you might be resistant towards that, but by the end of this process, you'll be much more willing to take external input and advice and collaborate in a larger group of people or a larger platform of some sort, rather than trying to do everything on your own. The 5th house is very self-oriented house. This is how I want, I'll do it on my own. I'll create my kingdom this way. But Ketu is there. Ketu says, no, you have to take into consideration the whole social environment, the feedback of others. You have to maybe become member of a bigger platform, and there you can shine through that bigger platform. So reach out to others and make those plans for long-term goals that you want to create. But listen, have a report. And for fire signs, that's probably the hardest, because they have the opposite for them is, year signs. But, a lot of success can come to you and increase gains over the next year and a half, because the 11th house rules gains and rewards from your work, especially if you're willing to innovate, to experiment. This is Rahu, to use alternative medias, alternative methods of business as well, new technologies. Rahu rules new technologies of any sorts, and even to connect with foreign friends, so people that are very different than your typical crowd of people you're hanging out with. And you're going to open yourself over the next year and a half to very unusual and very different people that you're used to usually. Very Rahuvian, foreigners, quirky, outliers, takey, kind of rebellious of some sort. And also Rahu prefers privileges. So people, you might try and you will possibly succeed if you have a goal to infiltrate, basically Rahu infiltrate a higher social standing, higher social groups and circles. For example, you want to be a member of this country club, but it's only for people whose families were a member of this country club and who have like inherited wealth or whatever. But Rahu in the 11th house can bring you this window of opportunity to connect with someone randomly, because it's Gemini. You meet this person randomly in your everyday environment who says, oh, actually, I can make you a member of that club, or I can get you on this organization or in this group, or, oh, you can become a member of the astrological society, even if you're not ready. Because whatever Rahu brings us, we're not ready for it, but we really want it. And we always get a little bit out of our depth, so to speak, because it throws us so much on us. But yeah, it wants to shock us into to make a jump rather than go around to the top of the mountain. So it's kind of pew, throws you up on top, and you're like, I don't have an oxygen mask, I'm not prepared, I have to quickly, use all the available resources and quickly adapt. But Gemini helps you with that. Gemini is a very adaptable sign. So whatever new social circle you're thrown into, you're gonna adapt very quickly by by communication, by learning. So stay open to others, to learning, because they can be your trampoline towards higher gains, to achieving some dreams, some goals as well. And your social environment will change. By the end of this process, you'll be surrounded by new people, very different people than you're used to in some way, groups and such things. What can happen though with South Node in the 50s, that you might have to detach from children, or some of you whose children, they might be older, they might be leaving the home. You might have to detach for a little bit from that intrinsical fifth house. You might have to, because Ketu is to sacrifice a little bit, to sacrifice your sense of what you consider fun, your own hobbies and your own fun activities that give you joy, that you feel quite natural and talented in, so you can develop such that society requires the 11th house in Rahu, so you can develop, or that you can focus on achieving some long-term goal, which is the 11th house. So achieving some long-term goals by learning new skills, connecting to new people, while sacrificing your own pleasures, your own fun activities. On a more personal level, it can mean disconnecting from having fun, or from the romantic relationships for a little bit, because your priorities somehow will be, because whatever Ketu is, things just don't work as easily there. So it can mean just that you're finally able to disconnect romantically from someone, or that you have to sacrifice it because of doing those other 11th house things that I talked about, those goals and plans, more for example, to be more financially gainful, to achieving some long-term goal or dream of yours. So the romantic and fun side of life gets a little bit sacrificed. So you get detached from it naturally in some way. But sometimes it can be painful. Ketu in the fifth house, you have to let go of a romantic relationship, or a certain aspect of a relationship. The more romantic, the more you can feel sexually less, for example, attached to a partner. But on another level, it can still bring a romantic relationship, but it will be of a Ketu nature, with someone who is more spiritual, or someone who is a bit detached, someone who is maybe in some spiritual field, or someone from a past lifetime. If it brings a romantic relationship, it's something from the past of this lifetime that it has to be let's say, let go of as well. It has to be released, or you have to develop detachment towards it, or it's one from a past lifetime that you're working on, that you're learning on how to let go and detach from. Okay, so then we have Virgo. For you, Virgo, the North Node is entering the 10th house. Wow, you're going to be coming into the public eye. You'll be able to have a breakthrough in your career, in your worldly achievement. Some of you over the next year and a half, especially Virgo rising, Sun or Moon as well, to a lesser degree though, can really have a trampoline jump up into a new territory, to a totally new career than you've ever done, because Rahu often can bring something very surprising, very different, and you might not even have ever thought about this as a career, as a mission in life, which is the 10th house. You might have thought, oh, this is what my mission is, but suddenly you find yourself in circumstances, for example, that you find yourself in some situation that suddenly you have to do negotiations or something, and you realize, and they hear how good you are with those negotiations, they offer you a position. But till now, you were a bus driver, and suddenly you're like, what? A contract negotiated. I'm just giving you a very random example, but you can find yourself in a career, and that will happen suddenly. That will be not something you have planned. That will be not something that you have dreamed of, because it's Gemini. It's immediate circumstances around you, your environment, which surprise you. You have to react immediately, and they can put you on a higher social ladder. And you will often, whatever Rahu gives us, we're not prepared for it. We can find ourselves, you can find yourself in a bit like out of your depth. It's like, oh my God, I asked for a little bit, but the water came up to here. But Gemini, the sign in your 10th house of career, it's very adaptable. So that's why Rahu, the North Node, loves being in Gemini, because Rahu throws us new unexpected things, new opportunities that we're not ready for. But Gemini is the sign that is fastest to learn, and you have that in your career sphere, in your social, and that's why Virgos generally are such great employees or people in the workforce, because they have Gemini as the 10th house. The most skillful sign is Gemini, so you're naturally very skillful. Whatever new environment you find yourself, when it comes to your career, when it comes to your worldly responsibilities, you adapt so fast. And this is the thing you'll be doing in the next year and a half, basically, and trying to, those curveballs and surprises that the eclipse in the 10th house and Rahu, they will give you. You very quickly adapt, so you can take a step up, and your reputation to elevate, or to find yourself in a very different career environment and such. While at the same time, the South Node will be in your 4th house. So it means you might have to sacrifice a little bit of your family life during that time. You might disconnect from family members. In extreme cases, is family member leaving, family member, or someone in your living environment, roommates or whatever, living, or something changing also in your living environment. But it's more like maybe because you have to sacrifice a place that you really love to live, for example, and that you feel comfortable. You have a lot of security there, because Ketu is about our security paradigms, the South Node. That suddenly you can't be there because of a new career that appears, or your increased ambitions through Rahu in the 10th house of worldly success, that you have to go and work somewhere else, so you have to relocate. So it feels like, oh, I have to make a sacrifice about my living environment, and where I'm, where I felt very secure and comfortable. Also, it can mean disconnection, or sometimes I've seen people relocate far away from their parents. When Ketu transits the 4th house as well, sometimes I've seen people have to, because of work, because of worldly responsibilities, have to sacrifice family a little bit, and they can feel like a bit like disconnected as well. But if they want to develop fast, they should put themselves out there in the world, where Rahu in Gemini will, and especially through developing new skills, learning new skills very quickly, communicating some message of importance, managing something, which is all Geminian qualities, teaching skills of some sort. You're putting yourself out there. While your personal life, a little bit emotional life, which is the 4th house, can be a little bit, which is in Sagittarius, can be a little bit sacrificed, let's say, in this way. Okay. Then we have Libra. Libra, for you, the North Node is moving into your 9th house. Wow, everything is turned around for you. It's always complex with Libra. While the South Node is moving into your 3rd house. So especially with Libra rising, Sun and Moon as well, they always are things are reversed for them. But it means that you will have, contrary to most other people in the world, opportunities for international travel more than others. That might be surprising, that you didn't expect. Suddenly some opportunity can turn that, say you start a career, whatever, that includes a lot of travel, the ninth house, you know. Well, everyone else can't do it currently for the next year and a half. A lot of Libras will be like, wow, okay. And it can also, or that you can have some business that is internationally connected, that is connected to trade, import, export, if such opportunities, and that require, especially quickly, for you to adapt and to develop skills in trading, which is Gemini, but with foreign people, or in industries connected to travel, to import, export, connected to faraway places, connected to higher education. So you need to develop some business skills, some of you, over the next year and a half, that are connected to these 9 house matters. And you can develop those business skills by learning from others, asking others to teach, or asking others that have specific skill sets that you need. So don't be, and you as Libra, you're open to ask for help. You're naturally someone who likes to bond and connect with others. But those, so you should continue with your natural tendency to bond, to connect, to exchange ideas, to ask with others, and this will create some opportunity for you. Opportunity in this 9th house to which is also the house of luck, which can create more luck and abundance of some sort through you. But it's also it can create like a it can give you access to circles of highly erudite, intellectual people. They're more kind of high classes, because the ninth house rules those people that have, you know, higher developed, higher class, higher development, higher knowledge, like teachers, people that we look up to. And you can become a member of such group. You can infiltrate, or you can receive a position, a higher position, or you can receive a position of opportunity. Rahu is an opportunity in such circles of higher knowledge, higher wisdom, and you can even receive some role as a teacher during that period. And I remember when Rahu was transiting my 9th house, whatever Rahu brings an opportunity, we feel like it's a bit too fast. We feel like, oh my God, it's happening too fast, and you're not ready for it. But if the universe is saying you're ready, you're ready. So you feel a bit overwhelmed. And I remember when Rahu was transiting my 9th house, I was thrown. I was almost like forced by someone that I work with to start doing webinars and to teach. The 9 houses teach. And I was like, oh, we always resist whatever Rahu is. We're like, oh, we really want it, but we're so afraid, because Rahu is something that you feel, I'm not ready yet for it. And I was thrown out there. And she basically organized that webinar for me, and I did it. And after that, she started organizing every 2 weeks for me webinars. And I was like, I was kind of pushed and forced to go out and teach. And I was feeling so unprepared, so out of my depth. And that's what can sometimes happen with Rahu transiting you in the 9th house. You're put in some role of a teacher, and you don't feel prepared for it. So you have to, because it's Gemini, you have to quickly learn those skills, and you will. And you have to basically maybe watch videos of others, how they do it. Maybe take very quickly crash courses and study that. Maybe very quickly, read up on those things if you're put in any position of someone who is an advisor, someone who gives counsel to others, someone who becomes like the teacher role for others in some way, someone who is like an expert, that you're like an expert. But you have to be open to receive from others that are more knowledgeable, that you can quickly kind of stuff on that information. Okay, and also you might be exploring new religions and new belief systems. The Rahu can really expand into a new vision for you, new understanding of reality that expands your horizons. And I think using any kind of technologies, which is what Rahu is, and innovations will be extremely lucky for you. The 9th house is luck. And I was always, Rahu is foreign countries, 9th house is foreign countries, a lot of interactions I see, maybe even online, it doesn't have to be in person, that can be with foreign people. And you're learning a lot, because the 9th house is about knowledge, understanding the theory of something, the theory, the bigger picture, really learning in depth. something about Gemini, something about markets, about trading, about business. It can be a fantastic time to learn about all of those things. Okay, but also you might be drawn to um, gurus and teachers that are very charismatic, which is Raku, that are very foreign. Say you're Christian and you're drawn to someone who is like a Buddhist teacher or a Hindi teacher, more exotic. And again, this expands your consciousness. But also sometimes when Raku is also the trickster, we can be drawn to people that are not telling us the truth, and also your understanding of the truth can be a little bit skewed, or the new understanding can be out there or a little bit twisted and manipulative. Then you have South Node in the third house, Libra, which means that can indicate maybe disconnecting certain relationships with people from your everyday environment. You see the whole world is doing the opposite while you're doing this, which means like you might lose interest in your everyday friends. They might feel like that those relationships are meaningless a little bit, that they feel deflated. And your mates, they can feel like, oh, it feels a bit, either superficial. It's like I don't feel it anymore. My mates, my teammates. So your social environment will change. You will sacrifice your old social environment for a new one that's more foreign, that's more exotic, that's more ninth house, that is more, connected there with high-minded teachers or erudites or intelligentsia. I don't know how it's in English. And you can kind of neglect your everyday friends or relations. You can neglect your siblings. So maybe sometimes it's like a sibling goes away or something, or some group of people you've been working with, they're no longer around, and and you might lose. You might let go of certain means of transportation and such matters. Uh, okay, so that's about it. Let's see. And don't forget, you can lose devices. When the South Node transits a house, it's about losing, hiding. You can lose devices of communication, phones. Be more careful with those. These are more vulnerable, so to speak. And passwords. So it's a bit like having a Mercury retrograde for a year and a half. But the everyday activities, you might kind of lose focus in them, and your everyday planning and organizing. So you can look at the bigger picture, go out there. So as I said, it's the opposite for you. All right. So Scorpio for you, the North Node is going to be in your 8th house, while the South Node will be in your 2nd house. So what can it mean? It can mean that you might have to let go and lose some sense of security, or some source of income, that because it no longer feels meaningful for you. Sagittarius feel meaning, but South Node weakens its 2nd house is money and resources. So you might be willingly decide to let go of something that no longer serves you, and it is material of nature. Let go of possessions. You might feel like they no longer seem relevant to me. I don't feel connected to them. I'm releasing those objects, those assets. This is the best way it can happen. I remember when I had that, I let go of all the possessions I've gathered in 16 years of living in UK, and I just gave them away. I didn't even make money from them, so I can relocate to the USA, where I met my new husband, so I could be with my new husband. So I let go of a lot of possessions. I lost a lot, but it felt like it didn't feel relevant, those possessions anymore. It felt like, okay, it's my old life, it's I'm moving into new energy. And when I open and willingly you let go of something, possessions, material, things that you attach to, and we're talking only as assets, as material things, then what opens and what opportunity can come to you is from this 8th house where Rahu is, where it always gives us more. It can give us material opportunity through another person. You let go of something that is your own and you possess it and you're like, oh, I'm so attached to it. No, you let it go. It opens a great opportunity. Someone comes suddenly, you meet them in your everyday environment, because your Gemini is your everyday environment, to and through, out and about. You maybe to the post office, or maybe you're chatting with someone on Skype to see how they are, and suddenly they mention some new opportunity to you. Because it's Gemini, it's going to happen surprisingly sudden. You did not expect it, you did not plan it, so to speak, and you find a source of opportunity, financial, that comes to you through others, by combining your skills together, by getting use of another's resources and growing them. For me, it's like your money can grow a lot, but if you let go of some old way of resources and financial security and open and welcome a new one that includes new people, that includes new contacts as well, that includes also merging your money with another person, that opening yourself and your finances and resources to another person, business or personal relationship. But always with Rahu, you have to be careful of tricksters, because the negative side of Rahu, especially depending how it's placed in your horoscope, is that it can bring people that also wants to, to trick you, but you can definitely connect with people with more resources now that can create and open abilities and open doors for you to create more abundance. And I remember when this happened for me, my wealth grew 3 times over that year and a half of Rahu in the 8th house, because I've let go of the old things that I had. That had outgrown their meaning for me. Also, you can gain over those year and a half through an inheritance or insurance or something that comes to you from outside as a financial influence. So maybe your partner can get a big promotion and their finances grow. So because of that, you benefit in some way as well. And it's very important to be open to ask for support from others, especially if you're going through some difficult psychological or emotional issues that you can overcome. Rahu can give you like a trampoline overcoming of a problem that you've been stuck in, that you can't find an alternative solution to, because it goes into Gemini, the sign that wants to communicate. So by talking with others, so some talk therapy can suddenly kind of give you a breakthrough through some kind of transformation or difficult period you're going through, some kind of a trauma, 8th house rules, traumas, transformations that we've been stuck on. So talk therapy, or just you read something, you go to a book, or you speak with someone, or you discuss an idea, you read it, you open yourself to information from others, which is the Gemini aspect of it, and you can find a sudden solution to a traumatic event or sudden release of deeply piled up emotional psychological issues, and a breakthrough there as well. Also, it can indicate passionate development of occult abilities and knowledge. This is the 8th house. Why is Scorpio such an occult sign? Because the 8th house of occultism is Gemini, the most skilled sign. So they're naturally interested to read, to talk about, and this inclination of yours to naturally read and speak and talk about Gemini, about occult and hidden and secret topics that are taboo for others, that are others afraid to to speak about, like death, like sex, like taxes, like, trauma, abuse, all of those things that we're afraid to speak about, that are too intense, too deep. Well, you'll be shining in the next year and a half. It might be your calling, and it might be your rise to success or notoriety that you're talking about those topics, and your interest in such topics will increase. Some of you can be studying astrology, some of you can be studying tarot, some of you can be studying sciences and doing some deep researches, micro space, and have a breakthrough to it. Some of you might be talking on a blog or on a vlog or on a social media about really scary or really taboo topics, conspiracies or such things, and you can become very passionate about unearthing the secret. There'll be a lot of secrets appearing in your life. You'll become Scorpio with a number 2, even bigger, more Scorpio than you are, talking and so passionate about secrets and about a deep psychological penetration, understanding the motivation and the reasons of others. And you can use that for professional growth. You can use that for obsessive research in some way. But also, if you want fast success, do get in groups with such people, do communicate those ideas with others. Well, yeah, we said that, Ketu. So you have to basically, and this is going to be very natural to you, very natural, that to go into that more mystical side of life, more scary side, more known side of life, uh, and leave behind some of the security of the second house of security. uh, and not just rely on your own resourcefulness, but share your ideas with others, and others' resources somehow will help you. This eighth house. Okay, now let's go to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, whew, South Node is entering your house. So the mighty teacher needs to listen to others for once. For the next year and a half, you'll be honing your interpersonal skills, the seventh house, to learn to build rapport with others, to hear what they want to tell you. Because your biggest success comes to you if you collaborate with others now in the next year and a half. If you allow more power hungry people or more ambitious people to pull you, to get you out of your head. Ketu in the first house, to get you out of your head, and because you're kind of a bit depleted now, let's say. You know, when 9 years ago Rahu was in your ninth house, usually it kind of sparks of the ambition, and now Ketu is, so it kind of, you have to step back and you have to allow others to start bringing up ideas to you and to listen, which is probably very hard for Sagittarius. You have to overcome your desire to teach, to give advice to others, to know it best, to follow, and to follow this grand ideal of yourself. You will achieve your grand ideal of yourself through others in the next year and a half, by listening to their skills, by listening what they have to offer you, by collaborating with another person. I remember when Ketu was transiting in the last 2 years, actually not last 2 years, before that, a year and a half ago, uh, through my first house, my needs took a second step, and I wasn't very happy about that. But I put all my needs to my partner. I put my attention on my partner, and I let my business partners take over, and I allowed this is when I allowed people that are not me, just astrologer, but others, to start putting their stamp on my channel. And I started doing collaborations and working with others a lot more. And that's where the success came from. And it was a great strategy. So follow the strategy and it will be great. Also, Rahu in the seventh house can indicate that someone appears in your life who is, uh, very much foreigner. Rahu, very unusual, different social standing than you. For example, you're someone with a much more higher social standing or very unusual social standing, someone that you've never dated till before, someone that is kind of a controversial even. Maybe you're African American and you date a white guy for the first time, or the other way around. Or maybe you're Indian and you date someone from a different caste than you, or not only date, but even marry or allow. It's not only also about romantic relationship or marriages, the seventh house, it's about important people in your life. Suddenly you'll notice that you're open for much more different crowd of people and close friendships and one-to-one interactions. You'll start noticing either foreigners around you or people that have very unusual ideas about life. And some of those connections that you form now, they can be lasting for 18 years. They can stay in your life for 18 years, or bring opportunities for you for maybe most important in the next year and a half, because Rahu brings sudden opportunities to jump above suddenly, rather than go around around the mountain, to just basically be phew, trampling up on the top. And also you attract people that are a little bit more ambitious, that are more driven, that are more money driven or fame driven of some sort as well. And they can help you get there. For example, you can get a great agent now if you want to be a star or something, someone that pushes you, someone, because South Node is in your first house, so you don't have the self-promotional skills now. And it's kind of it's good someone else to drum your beat now rather than you. When the South Node is in the first house, you kind of take a humble stance. You're like, oh, because you kind of almost feel when the South Node is in the first house, you want to hide as well. But you get someone else, seventh house, that drums your beat. You can get like a um, very ambitious promoter for you. You can get a very ambitious agent for you, very ambitious business partner who pulls things for you. And you have to be willing to listen and experiment and try those new things, those new collaborations, those new ideas that another person is offering you. It can also indicate that a new partner is coming into your life. It can be Rahu, and sometimes people get married and divorced when there are eclipses in their seventh house. But usually someone new comes, even if there is a divorce, because it's Rahu. Uh, and someone youthful, foreign, Gemini, Rahu, uh, and experiment. You should be willing to experiment in your sex life as well. Seventh house is connected in ancient astrology with the sex life. And what else is there? So a fated partner can appear. For me, it was fated business partner that happened, um, and that kind of helps you go up, and another thing that can happen is that your partner can have like a sudden jump in their life. So it's some opportunity or something, and they become the center stage for a little bit and not you. And you have to take a step back and allow them to shine in some way. It becomes about them, giving them your attention as well, sacrificing your needs for them in some way. But also it makes a person highly horny when Rahu is in the seventh house. This is a combination, Rahu in the seventh house, for cheating in Vedic astrology, or having multiple partners. So if you're single, this can be a time when you're experimenting with a lot of partners as well, trying, especially Gemini also likes to experiment. Rahu likes, I'm going to try this partner, I'm going to try that partner, Uh, and and there is a lot of interesting developments and unexpected developments that come to you through your partner, and that you're willing to experiment and try unusual things there as well, that another person brings to you things that you're not used to, that are new, innovative, that you may be a little bit afraid of, but you have to take that step and do it. And it can also indicate, we spoke about sexual, business partnership, and maybe I'm missing something. But yeah, okay. Let's go to the next sign. Capricorn, sun, moon, or rising first, actually. So the north node is moving, the south node is moving from your sign, water relief. It's going to bug the Sagittarians now, but the south node, you will now, basically, the more difficult planets are starting to move from your sign for a year and a half. You will have the south node. So you had to sacrifice a lot of things while the south node was in your sign. And you had to maybe learn to rely on others when the north node was in the seventh house. But now the north node is moving into your, what is it? Into your sixth house. Yes. While the south node is moving into your 12th house. So it means that now you're going to be developing for the next year and a half the sixth house. And it's interesting. I just had the south node in the 12th house, so I can give you my perspective. You kind of feel a bit more spaced out when the south node enters your 12th house. It's a very spiritual position. But it's important to balance it with the north node. So you need to bring yourself down and anchor yourself into reality. And that will be your recipe for success through the sixth house by basically developing new habits, by developing new daily routines that keep you anchored, that by putting your feet in the ground and being in touch with nature and being more grounded. The sixth house is just go around your daily business, and especially because with south node in the 12th house, some kind of from the past, some memories can come and bubble into your surface. And the south node removes boundaries. It removes the boundaries from the invisible world and from the unconscious, from past lifetimes. So that can be a good time to remember past life things, but it's also burning past life karma. And when it bubbles up and wants to come to the surface, unusual fears can appear. And they're just fears, they're subconscious, but they're connected to past lifetimes. You don't remember them, and you can feel like spaced out or a bit confused with the south node in the 12th house. So instead, you bring yourself to the north node, Rahu, in the sixth house of practical everyday activities. When you start feeling disconnected or spaced out, or like the south node in the 12th house might want you to run away with the fairies, might want you to revisit some addictions, or to kind of totally disintegrate into some kind of addictive behaviors, either just zoning out on the couch or just drinking or whatever addictive behaviors you have that are due to unresolved past life issues, basically. And trying to escape reality, you ground yourself by going to this Rahu in the sixth house, which is like start washing up the dishes, cleaning around. I can tell you that I've never been big on cleaning, but while Rahu was in my sixth house for the last year and a half, and for you for the next year and a half, you become quite passionate about cleaning, you about putting order around you, about organizing your space, and that keeps you grounded. And also you can become quite passionate about um, trying different alternative healing methods, because Rahu is to experiment and Gemini is to learn new skills. So you might try different health to incorporate daily habits and activities that are also fun of some sort, but that are helping you develop more uh, um, I lost my train of thought. There you go. The South Node is still in my 12th house. I still zone out. You'll be zoning out from time to time, but what brings you back is work. And actually focusing on work, focusing on fulfilling your responsibilities is what keeps you grounded. And you can have great success in your work when Rahu transits the sixth house. For a year and a half, you can develop new strategies for your work, new technologies. You can incorporate new technologies for your the way that you work as well, to make it more efficient, to grow it, to expand it. Rahu wants to grow something. So that anything practical you can grow, especially when it comes to work. And actually you can decide to suddenly change work. Sixth house is your employment, who you work for. Suddenly you might be thrown into a totally new job where you are employed. If you're the employee, you can be thrown out into a sphere that you've never done before, and you have to very quickly adapt and learn those new skills, which is Gemini, to learn new skills very fast in a new work environment. So often people change their jobs with a job that is, or suddenly their job introduces them that they introduce a new software, or they introduce a totally new way of doing the job, and you have to quickly adapt and learn that. But that will help you grow, that will help you become more productive, that can even give you some promotion for the next year and a half as an employee. If you're the boss, then your sixth house is your employees, and it's the way how you do your work. So I can give you an example. Rahu was transiting my sixth house till now. And when it started doing it for the first time, I started hiring employees. I hired an administrator, it's my brother. I hired a graphic designer, it's my best friend. I hired a marketing person, so it's, I started hiring people so they can do those things, because Rahu wants to, sometimes, and I hired even someone to clean at home. I hired someone to watch the babies. I've never been hiring so many people. I hired 20 programmers to develop a software app that will come out at the end of this year. I hired 7 astrologers to make videos and write text. I've been hiring people galore. Rahu can make you suddenly, like, you want to grow your business, you start hiring people. But the ultimate goal of it is to make the business more successful, to make it more up to date, to make it more innovative, to whatever your work is, to upgrade it, so to speak, because Rahu is about progress. So these things will keep you grounded. And it's and these things, and also starting to take supplements. The sixth house is medicine, but especially through your food that you use as your medicine, supplements, healthy stuff, or you can do the unhealthy. It's any kind of self-medication and medication. But I became super passionate, for example, about anything to do with supplements. So now I take 4 or 5 different magnesium, zincs, and it does work. It's crazy. It's you become passionate about such things, exploring health matters, exploring, maybe watching such documentaries, Gemini, reading about such documentaries, or such research, medical research, starting to research medical things of any sorts. And if you're in any medical field, you can really grow it, expand it, grow in clientele. If you're in any workout business, six houses, workout, holistic medicine, working with animals, again, this can be a time you really grow up your work, your business. So if you're an employee, you're going to experiment, you can try new things. There can be some surprises there, but there's the need for innovation. You throw yourself passionately in that, and it takes you away from the spaced out energy of the 12th house. So actually becoming more grounded, more material, learning to deal with the problems of everyday life, and dealing with them immediately with the whatever skills you have, in developing skill sets, which is Gemini, how to deal with everyday problems, how to solve them, rather than try to escape, which is the south node in the 12th house. We don't want to escape now as Capricorns. So you're naturally very aligned to the sixth house because it's an earth sign like you. So dealing with problems is something you're very good at and natural. And the sixth house is also, uh, we said you can become passionate about your health. You can become, sometimes some health issues can arise with the eclipses in the sixth house with Rahu there, but they're usually due to toxicity, because Rahu rules also toxicity. Taken too much, eaten too much, drank too much, whatever. Something toxic in the environment, and you're probably going to learn a lot about it and how to eliminate or how to deal with supplements to rebalance that toxicity in some way. While you're leaving behind a lot of things from the past, the South Node in the 12th house. And one good thing of the 12th house is that it's about letting go, and the past and the subconscious, and the South Node is about letting go as well. So it's almost like a natural process, those two, the South Node um, merging with the 12th house, is that you can leave behind a lot of old beliefs that were like a stumbling stones, underwater stones for you, in a way to self-sabotage your progress. And you're focusing on very practical steps, the sixth house, to create your work, ideal work, to give the ideal, to give practical steps and new skills to for service and work, basically, and to fulfill your work. And it's also to deal with debt. The sixth house is debt. Some of you might decide to work very hard to pay off a debt, to learn some new skills or some new ways of managing your debt. Consult with someone about managing your debt. You'll be very successful in that, much faster to pay it off. And to learn about medical debt, all of those things, as I said. And sixth house is to enter into arguments. Some of you might become more passionate than other times to enter into arguments. That's another thing I've seen with Rahu transiting the sixth house. It's funny, but just don't. I mean, even if you go into a court case of some sort, that might be an extreme manifestation. But usually with Rahu there, I think you have, because Rahu is to win or to get material results from that. You might be the one that wins. But with your not invisible enemies, but with your visible enemies, this is the sixth house, you might go with them face to face in some way with Rahu there. Okay, then we're going to Aquarius. Aquarius, the South Node is coming out about 12th house, where it's been a year and a half. And we had to let go of a lot of things, blah, blah, blah. We're a bit spaced out. There was too many things happening there. It's going into our 11th house. It's much lighter energy in the south, and the North Node is entering our 5th house. So what is it? Well, first of all, Rahu in the 5th house wants to develop your creative talent, will stimulate you to great, amazing, new, innovative ideas. You'll be brimming with ideas for the next year and a half that are your own ideas, but you have to learn the skills for that, Gemini. A lot of those ideas, in order to make them happen, because that's what Gemini wants to do, to get its hands dirty and make your creative ideas a reality, you have to collaborate with others. Gemini is to get specialists, so people that understand from each one of those things, to collaborate creatively with others, so to ask for their advice how to do it. You can't do it all alone. It will be your own creative ideas, your own vision, but you have to use the skill sets of others as well, to collaborate, or yourself to learn a lot of new skill sets that will basically help you fulfill that that creative project of yours, that idea of yours. The 5th house is our own ideas, and if you have your own business, also it's the creative side of the business. It's the the side that is unique, that no other business has, that you specifically invented. So if you have your own business, wow, that would be a period when you really will innovate there. It will take it to the next level technologically as well. Or if you have a creative project, you can really, again, do the same with it. You can passionately develop hobbies over the next year and a half. You can become very excited and willing to experiment, which is Gemini, and try new things with new hobbies, some new sport, but it's for fun. It's not going to be because of health. It's not going to be because um, I have to play tennis, so I lose 5 centimeters from my waistline. Maybe you did that while Rahu was transiting your sixth house in the past year and a half. Maybe you're forcing yourself to be healthy for health reasons, to do some sports for health reasons. But now Rahu transiting the fifth house is like, oh, I'm doing the sport because I'm enjoying it. It's fantastic time to really start become passionate and excited and experiment and try new sports and new games and new hobbies with the hands, for example. Some of you might start knitting, some of you might start I know, driving, whatever it is, but it's going to be something you find very enjoyable. And by the way, Aquarius are naturally very talented, uh, because the fifth house is talents at Gemini things. So they have natural talents at communicating. They have natural talents at information and knowledge. That's why often Aquarius, they're just like such nerds, because they love what you love to do, fifth house. What's like, what is your hobbies, your passions, is to read, to study, which is Gemini, is to learn skills. So I think now would be fantastic times for Aquarius rising sun or moon to really develop a lot of skills that they can use creatively, that can make them become more famous. Fifth house is the house of being on the stage, being kind of standing out in some way. But a lot of those ideas you're going to pick up from others, you're going to discuss with others. It's good to collaborate with others. And what else does it happen? It can also increase your sex drive when Rahu trans the fifth house, because fifth house is erotic sexual pleasure. So you can become more passionate about, sorry, I just got so excited. You can become so passionate about your romantic partner. You can experiment some different sex, kink, romantic matters, uh, positions, threesomes, whatever. Whatever your Gemini has no in the fifth house of romantic and romantic fun things to do. Gemini has no morals, neither does Rahu. I'm not saying go and do those things. I mean, hopefully your partner would want to do them with you. It will be consensual. If not, you might feel drawn towards experimenting with dating, experimenting with romantic partners that are more crazy, that are more wild, that are less, that are kind of almost like forbidden fruit. So hopefully you'll do this with your partner, that you'll together explore the forbidden fruit romantically. I'm so excited. Finally, something to trigger this fifth house for Aquarius for me. Um, and but some people, if they're single, they can start dating a lot more. They can start experimenting with dating. They can put themselves out more with dating, especially through technologies, Rahu, or they can start dating a foreign person. They can be suddenly drawn romantically to someone very different than who they've been drawn to romantically, from a very different social class. Maybe you're the belle of the high school from a rich family, and you fall in love with a misfit, with the guy that comes from a broken family and hangs out with some gang or whatever, or the opposite way. You might fall romantically with the someone that is very Rahuvian. Rahu figures in our life represent people that are very different than anything we've done till now, that break the mold for us, that almost like taboo for us. Oh, you're white, you're gonna start dating someone who is black, or the other way, or you're poor, you're gonna start dating someone rich. And so experimenting in love and um, all such things romantically as well. And of course, Rahu is where we can do excesses, and where we can create a bit of, just try to avoid the negative side of Rahu, which is a trickster. Rahu can mislead people. Rahu says, oh, the result justifies the means. So some kind of gratification that, nothing, justifies the means if you hurt another person. So Rahu has a little bit of disregard for it, so we have to be careful with that. And the fifth house is children. It can stimulate children, the potential to have children. And it's Rahu is a fertile planet as well. It can give more than one in Gemini, like twins or something. Or it can indicate that your children, you become very passionate and you're asked to come down and start spending more time teaching skills to your children. Gemini, you know, fifth house, children, Gemini, skills to communicate with your children more, to create more rapport and to hear your children. Maybe you are not paying them enough attention now. Now you have to hear them. You have to learn to talk with them. You have to learn new methods of communicating with them. Or they might be going through some period where they want to grow, expand, where they want to go and live abroad or in a foreign place, or where they're put in front of a challenge to really grow, but in a sense to experiment and try new things. And you have to be there supporting them, opening their wings and exploring more, which is what Sagittarius is. It's fantastic time to put your children to learn new skills and stuff. It can also indicate the coming of a child in your life by adoption, because Rahu appropriated in ancient astrology the role of a god, because he was not a god but pretended to be one. So usually adopted children, or you marry someone and you start living with your stepson or whatever it's called, or stepdaughter that your partner brings in. This can be another thing that happens. All right. What else is there? I think we may. Oh yeah, the South Node being in our 11th house, guys. It means that for a little bit, might even sacrifice some gains and earnings so we can put into a creative process. So we can certain way how we've been gaining and earning money, which is the 11th house, especially if you have your own business, you know, so you can develop a creative side of your business more. So you can implement and use skills to implement and your those creative ideas that you have, those vision that you have, and put it in practice with Gemini in the fifth house for us, while we have to let go of some of our lofty long-term goals and plans and dreams, while delving into this creative process, and even sacrifice some gains, but new gains will come through this creative process that we're developing. Plus, a little bit for us is the opposite. Don't listen to what the audience wants now, because the 11th house is the audience. Dive into this fifth house, which is your own creative ideas, but consult with other specialists who can help you make those, that have the skills to make you those. So Gemini, you still consult with others, but it's kind of like leave behind, which is the South Node, what the market wants or what the market is used to. Some kind of outdated model of how you do business you have to leave behind, which is the 11th house, or some outdated income you have to leave behind while you're developing a new way, a new creative idea that will be another source of income later on for you. Another thing is that the South Node transiting in the 11th house, you might let go of certain friends and certain associations that you have, certain acquaintances. You might drop out of certain groups that you belong to, certain forums or certain platforms that you're a member of. Like, for example, you know, if YouTube continues like that, I might drop out from that. And YouTube is an 11th house platform, you know, because it's reaching large audiences. But, you know, when they censor videos and everything, you might have to leave behind some large groups and organizations that were part of platforms so you can develop your own, the fifth house. Okay. I'm reading my horoscope now, what I wishful thinking. But for everyone, it's some friendships, some associations, some areas that you're a member of. You will leave them behind because you no longer find meaning. You no longer find spiritual connection there, Sagittarius, and purpose. You leave behind some long-term goals of yours as well, and such, and plans that you've had as well. To dive into this creative process of generating something new, as I said. Okay, so It's pretty good, actually. The air signs are being quite supported by Rahu in Gemini, and they are getting quite good, fun things that are happening to them. So let your hair down, dance more, have fun, go to fun places, the fifth house, enjoy yourself more. You start feeling more joy of life, basically. But Rahu has a tendency that can draw you into those new things in a trickstery way as well, or with poisonous substances. Be careful with that. All right, so let's go to the last sign, Pisces. Okay, so the south node is moving out of the south node for you, Pisces. Wait, just a second. It's going into your 10th house, while the north node is going into your 4th house for the next year and a half. So it means that some of you might have to let go of some career, for example. Let go of some long-term goals. Let go of some, and not goals, but like, sorry, the 10th house is like your public reputation. And you might feel like, I don't feel meaningful connection anymore to this career or this position of authority. So especially if you're in a position of authority, you might feel like it's like the south node empties the meaning of the 10th house in Sagittarius. So you feel, some of you might be called like to say, okay, I feel dissatisfied here, or it's just pointless. So sometimes I've seen people change jobs when the south node transits their 10th house. With something hopefully that is more meaningful, and usually it's something that will give them more opportunity to spend time with their family or to focus more on their personal life, because they realize that the rat race is it's the meaning, they've lost the meaning with the deeper connection of their life, and they want to connect more with this Rahu in the 4th house, with their family, with their soul, with taking care of their own needs, so they can do some changes and leave behind certain responsibilities that were too much. The 10th house is responsibility, Ketu, the south node, to release certain responsibilities, so it can free more space for them to have bonding times with those most important people who create the foundation in our life, who feed our soul, the 4th house, with family, with loved ones. Even in Vedic astrology, 4th house is your closest friends that you consider like family. Uh, and somehow you give priority a lot to your family and personal life. It can be a time when you become super passionate, which is Rahu, and excited about acquiring new skills around the house, how to garden, how to fix wardrobes, DIY around the house, how to build your own house, even developing skills of communication with your family, starting to develop more bonding or time to play games with your family, to play Scrabble or whatever. And these will be the things that really anchor you, that really make you feel so much happier. While you have to leave the security of certain job, career, certain career, or even sacrifice a certain aspect of your career so you can get in touch with this more emotional side of yourself. This more parental side, you can become more passionate about parenting, or just the environment might require that from you, and that's why you need to leave behind some and be a little bit more slow on that gas and the pedal of your ambitions and worldly achievements. Or it doesn't mean quit your job and you don't work for a year and a half, but some people, it might mean that just spending more time with their family and less in the working sphere. But because you're building these roots, you're building this sense of emotional security there, and healing your soul. The 4th house is also very healing. Or you might be reading a lot about your family, your past history, the history of your country, because Gemini is a very curious sign. It wants to learn, talking a lot more with your family. Or it can even mean that you can develop some business with your family, with those most closest of yours. Or from your home. If you're doing a business from your home, then the Rahu in the 4th house combines really well the ambition of Rahu and the family and the desire to be with family. And in Gemini, business and skills. You can teach from home, for example, or something like that. You can learn from home as well, Gemini in Sagittarius. You can homeschool. You know, you might have to homeschool much longer than you think, or you might really have liked it so much that, because Gemini is to teach skills, fourth house is home, so you might decide, oh, I want to do more of that. Actually, it's better, you know. Or you might decide to go into property. You might decide to buy land. You might decide to start learning how to flip houses. You might be some sudden opportunity for some of you. Now with what's going to happen, the properties will lose 30% of their value probably in the next year and a half. Some of you might have a great opportunity, Rahu, to learn some skills, Gemini, and to take even a course and study something, how to sell and buy properties for profit or something like that. Enter the real estate, or enter caring, enter nurturing professions, catering of some sort. So these are the interesting things that happen. Some of you might be having to work from home more. You might get an opportunity that you don't have to be in this corporate office environment anymore, South Node, Ketu there, but you can do it from home as well. That's another opportunity that is possible with those positions. But in, you know, I think I mentioned almost all the possibilities, how this works out. And you can just abandon certain responsibilities, abandon certain positions of authority, or positions of managing and supervising of some sort, so you can get more in touch with family, with self of some sort, spend more time relaxing, spend more time building your emotional inner strength. Well, there you go. Thank you so much for all of you, all the 12 signs, and subscribe to my channel. What else? Check out all the webinars. We're offering always webinars that are amazing, that are on promo, and readings as well. Have a great Rahu in Gemini, guys.